looks like we are live on our platform. So, good morning, good afternoon, probably good evening to a couple of our clients out there. My name is Kayla. Welcome to Opus Management's Water Cooler Wednesday, where you guys have joined me since the beginning of the year. We are starting March, so congratulations everybody. We made it through the first 2 months. I hope that it's treated everybody well, and we're doing really well. So, my name's Kayla. I'm the client account consultant here at Opus Management, which basically just means I do a lot of sales and project management and helping figure out our clients' needs and those things. I am the right hand to our COO, and we are here to help. We're here to help you build a better business, build a better culture in your business, build a better customer experience, help you, run a more effective business, especially for small businesses. We've started out small. I've got my own small business on the side outside of this job that I do, which is running in the background currently, and had some pretty good success with all of that. So today, actually, for those of you who don't follow us on any of our social medias, we'd love for you to join us. You can find Opus Management on the majority of the social accounts. So find us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and then you can find me on TikTok on my personal. So today we're going to talk through some Microsoft products. So I feel like Microsoft in March, why not? I love when the letters go together. It makes my my ADHD happy. So, in our new modern, fast-paced environment where majority of people are working from home, and we've got a ton of social media at our fingertips, and we've got a ton of tools at our fingertips. I think that we are in a prime position to really look at what's available out there and what we can use to, continue to build that open door collaborative community amongst our employees. And there's a ton of things that we could dive into and that we can talk to. There's a ton of things that will really help change that experience for internal customers and for external customers. If you guys were with us last month, you heard me talk about the difference in those two. So internal customers are our employees. Essentially they are customers of us as leaders and as managers. And so, not forgetting that piece there. And, while I'm not advocating to cater to them all, it is something to remember that, we are here to serve them to a point. And in this new age environment, it is definitely something that comes up on more than one occasion. So we'll talk about some of the topics that I've touched on briefly, and we can do some deeper diving on the platform that we use for streaming. I'm going to have to mess with the background, really on the sharing my screen, and see how that's going to look so that we can actually dig into SharePoint and OneNote and how you can utilize these things to better your experience for your teams. And even Teams, Microsoft Teams, if you guys have Office, if you have the Business Suite 365, whatever they're calling it now, because I think it just changed again, there's probably some features that you aren't using. There was a ton of features I haven't used in a long time. So I now daily utilize the to-do list. I utilize a planner. We use it a whole lot on our end, where we're able to track and assign things so that it shows up and it's not just hidden away in a field, right? It pops up in your email. It reminds you on your calendar. It connects to your to-do list. So my to-do list, lives on the side of my screen, and it keeps me on track. And so I can be on a call, I can be on a stream, and can have a conversation and need to make myself a note. I can add it to my to-do list. Hey, Friday, don't forget to call Aunt Bootsy and tell her happy birthday. So it's something that's there. It's a tool that's easy to utilize that just gets overlooked. And I think a lot of the Office suite gets overlooked. I know for years that I've overlooked it. I overlooked it in my life before Opus big time. There was a push to use OneNote, and OneNote was something that I was kind of against. I was a pen and paper girl, like 100%. I love my notebooks. I love college ruled notebooks. There's nothing better than having a really nice fine writing pen that glides across the paper. Like, I'm always going to be old school like that. I feel like that will always be for me. But I have since started to utilize my iPad as I travel in my OneNote. So for Wednesdays, I really like having a theme for the month and kind of being able to go through that. And so I have in my OneNote app, when you open it up, I have my main notebook for work. And then in that, I have created different sections. Each section has a title, and each of those titles is kind of like the tabs in a notebook, right? They all have written on there. They're all got a different color. And then within those tabs, I have my pages, and I have those broken out. So for my Water Cooler Wednesday notebook, or the section in my notebook, I've got each month, the first page is strictly ideas. Like, I just get in there, anytime that it hits me, and usually it's late at night because I don't go to bed early. Usually about 11 o'clock, I'm like, oh, we should talk about XYZ. And I put it on my ideas tab in my Water Cooler Wednesday section. And then from there, it kind of builds out. So I have, right now currently, I have my March tab open. And I've got all my notes jotted down. In that, I've got things highlighted, right? So I color-coded different tips and different things that I wanted to ensure that I covered while we are here today and around OneNote, and that keeps me on track, and it keeps all that information there. Now, when I have my one-on-one meetings with my manager, I can share my notebook. I can take and link this and share it over to him so he can take a look at what's going on for Water Cooler Wednesdays, and we can talk through that. And then he can also then help, between the two of us, we can create social media content for it as well. And so just, it allows me to stay connected. It allows him access to the things that he needs. Now, if he doesn't need to be in, in 3 of the other notebooks, I don't have to grant him access to it. And that's the beauty of Microsoft, right? So we utilize that all the way across the entire gallery of what they offer. So you can be selective in who has access and who can view who can share what you can share, who can edit, or can they just view the things. I can set this where he'd be able to come in and check it. Now, if you utilize Office at home and you've got OneNote, this is great because you can add a whole ton of stuff. You can actually write out equations. So if you're doing math, you can write all the equations out, and you've got that option where it will convert that. So if you're writing down, man, it's been a long time since I've been in calculus. If you're writing information out, and you're writing out your, sine, cosine, tangent, is that calculus? Yeah, I think that's calculus still. If you're writing that information out, it will translate all of that and put it into, the computer-generated form of the sum of the square root of pi and all the fun things. Man, college was a long time ago for me. So outside of that, not only can you write your equations, but you can handwrite your notes. So, like for me, if I don't want to have to type on my iPad, I can just open it up, and I can actually go in and I can pull up my OneNote, and I can write on there with my handy dandy Apple Pen, and it's all written in my handwriting. Now there is an option to go in and be able to turn it into text. It doesn't care for my handwriting, especially like if I'm driving down the road and trying to jot a note as I'm driving. I don't recommend that at all. Please don't do that. It's not the safest, but it does allow you those options, and then you can share it. The even better thing is I don't ever have to hit save on this. Like, I kind of suck at saving updates, right? So my OneNote will automatically save, and not only then can I check it out on my tablet, I can then open up my computer and it's right there. So if I am having a Teams meeting and I've only got my one screen, I can have my tablet with me and have my OneNote open with all of my notes, make my notes, whatever I need to do. I can do it on my phone. I have the OneNote app on my phone, so I can open it up there. You can upload audio files, video files. Like you can take, I do a lot of voice notes when I'm driving and send them in text messages. Do the same thing on OneNote. Leave yourself a voice memo. Have somebody else leave you a voice memo if they need to. Take a video of whatever you're looking at. Take the pictures so that you can go back and you can say, okay, on March 1st, I visited Aunt Bootsy's cubicle, and here's what it looked like. These were the 5 things that she needed to do in order to clean it up and get to company standards. And guess what? When you go back and check it in 2 weeks on that due date that's in your to-do list and on your planner, you'll be able to go back and look at that picture and determine, what changes were made and how it looked. So yes, I love to carry around notebooks. Will I always have one? Yeah. Will I probably always write on sticky notes and all of that? Yep. But I utilize OneNote now to keep the important stuff and to keep it all contained. I'm even able to share, all the tracking information I do on my horse with my horse trainer. That one's an easy one. I can keep up with his veterinary schedule. I can keep up with his show schedule. I can keep up with the points that we achieve in the money he's achieved since we started showing him, and my horse trainer has access to that. So it's just something extra that allows things to keep organized. So more OneNote tips coming on our social media for Opus Management this month. As it is March, we are either in the 3rd month of the first quarter, or you're in the first month, the second month, first quarter. Depends on how your fiscal year goes. But anyway, that's just, what I utilize. Now, your OneNote can be shared. And when you share it, an easy place to share it at and to link that is Teams. So with your Microsoft Office, you've got, typically in your business suite, you've got a collaboration tool that's going to allow the different teams to communicate and collaborate, connect, have meetings, calls, across the entire organization, right? You can build documents, you can create a file system. It's all going to be cloud-based, and you're going to have access to it. So Teams allows you to keep work, and home. Nothing more that I hated in my last job was having things come through on my personal phone as a text message. They could have been work, right? I could have just gotten a Teams message. We didn't utilize Teams. We utilized something totally different that drove me up the wall because it was used much more on a personal level and for personal issues than work issues. But Teams would allow you to collaborate with your partners, with your employer, employees, across the board. And you can set the specific channels. So ultimately, your whole team would be like your entire HR division, your entire IT division, your entire sales division, your construction managers, whatever those levels are. Your managers can all be in a group. You can be in multiple teams, right? So each team is set up, and you can connect those where they have their own channel. And on that channel in Microsoft Teams, right, it gets a little confusing because we start juggling too many Teams words. But within that channel, you're able to organize different discussions. So you can have different group discussions. You can have different files uploaded. You can have different apps and services available, and the list goes on and on. You also can connect this to the planner, and so you're able to kind of view it more like social media, which I'm sure for those of you that are much more tech savvy, it comes very easy to when you start utilizing Microsoft Teams. It's simple to hop on and have a video call. I prefer it over Zoom. Zoom does not like me for some reason. Like every time I get on a Zoom call, I always struggle with something. The connection, the mute wants to come off. Like I don't even know what to do with Zoom sometimes. But Teams has been super easy. It's really easy to record whatever's going on and then take that session and download the video and share it elsewhere. So your ability to share all the activities that are going on really magnifies once you get into and start utilizing your Office 365. Your Teams can keep a running summary, so you have just a live, dang near a live feed, right, that goes on that just tracks what's been going on and if you've been mentioned somewhere and if there's conversation updates or things are going on like that. I have a conversation currently that where we're building out a SharePoint site and we were looking into how to do something. I shared a link that connects to a really good how-to on it, and we were able to pin that to the top of the conversation because we haven't had a chance to do it yet, right? It's on the list today. We'll be able to now go back to that link because it's in the conversation, it's pinned, or I could search for it. I mean, I really could search for a PTO and go from there. So with your Teams piece, being able to utilize those channels, organize your files, organize your documents that are being used, and then use the planner in it for new hires, gives you a lot of flexibility across it. Now, as you create channels on your Teams, whichever you want to call it, as you create those channels, they will actually link to probably our most customized work that we do here at Opus, and that's SharePoint. So I've talked about it a couple of times throughout the last 2 months, and SharePoint really is something organizationally that can streamline so much. You can build the different flows for different sections, automate a lot of things, and take a lot of time out. Probably the most time and resources spent is in HR. It's in hiring and recruiting and onboarding. So why not have a system that can organize your files or your list? So depending on what you're doing, right? SharePoint creates different lists that you can work through. And if you do these, right, then as you build out through SharePoint, you build out different files. You can create flows. So our big usage currently the majority of my projects are all around HR and building HR software on SharePoint for the different companies. And so we are tracking, we're doing a lot of things in the HR portals. So we're building out these portals, and we start with connecting it through a form, right? So if you're hiring and you've got people that you're finding on LinkedIn, you're finding them on Facebook, you're finding them on Indeed, which is currently a favorite. As you're finding these candidates or these prospects, you can send them to your website and they can fill in their information. So give your name, your phone number, your email, upload your resume, upload your cover letter, and we can link it through a Microsoft form into SharePoint. Once it's linked into SharePoint, it's going to populate all of these applicants. And you'll be able to search them. You'll be able to track where they're at in the system, right? Has HR looked at them? Has the hiring manager looked at them? Have we reviewed their resume? Once those things are done, then you can move them on to the next step. So as we go on to the next step, and we're looking at this candidate, we've decided we want to schedule an interview. We can mark that, right? So that's going to live in the list of candidates, and we're going to be able to track it and color code it if you would like. If you're visual like me and you want to have a fast glance at how many are in which part of the process, you color code it. And so we give it the value of scheduling interview, and we're going to make that puppy purple. I don't know. We're just picking a color, guys. So we create it. He's purple in our list. We give him a call and schedule the interview, and he's going to come in. So now we're waiting for an in-person interview. We can update the status as the interviewing HR partner. We can update that status. You're able to see it. So you can restrict that view to just the managers for that position. You can restrict it to just HR until we're ready to move them through to the interview process.